Hello there, YouTube. Welcome back to Kez Vlogs Daily. Today, I have honestly got a pretty sick and twisted story, or case, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. So, fair warning, trigger warning, this is a fucking horrible case. I really don't like talking about this sort of stuff, but I am a bit of a crime buff, and this is something that happened very, very close to my hometown. I live in Leeds. This happened in Merseyside, which is Liverpool, which is literally like an hour's drive. So, totally insane. So I don't really want to go through like a step by step sort of reenactment or like a whole deep dive into the whole situation, because seriously, it is really, really upsetting. And honestly, it's not something that I personally feel comfortable or even like the right person to tackle it in that sort of way. I want to more take it on the take of sort of like the government being ridiculous, and we'll get there. So basically, back in February 1999, a 2-year-old boy from Kirkby in Merseyside, England, which is Liverpool, basically got found on a train track. Decapitated body found on a train track. Obviously, an incredibly gruesome scene. He went missing from a shopping centre, and the train track wasn't too far away from the shopping centre. So, at first, the consensus was that the kid had basically wandered away from his parents and tragically been struck by a train. So, with that being said, the autopsy result comes in. Now, I'm trying to say this in sort of a way that doesn't give off the end of the sort of story and ruin my climax, but it's unscripted, so please bear with me. I am trying my best. So yeah, after the body's been found, obviously it's been called in by the parents and stuff that the kid's gone missing. They find the body. A subsequent autopsy is obviously done as standard procedure. Now, in this autopsy was some incredibly disturbing discoveries. Discoveries such as there was blue model paint in the child's eye. The child was seemingly undressed a little bit. He had bruises and fractures all over him that wasn't really consistent with the train incident. He had a fractured skull. He had batteries in his mouth. It had batteries had been put up his anus and stuff. So obviously a homicide, obviously a murder. This was not an accident. It blatantly was murder. A very fucking horrific murder, if I do say so myself. This kid was 2 years old, which, for anybody to do that to an innocent 2-year-old is just... Anyway, moving forward. So CCTV footage came out of said 2-year-old boy. His name was James Patrick Bulger. James Patrick Bulger. And honestly, rest in peace, because what a horrific way to go for anybody. Jesus. Back to the story. So yeah, CCTV footage comes out of this particular shopping centre, and he's basically been led away by two adults. What seems to be adults. Then I think further footage is discovered of him near the train tracks with said adults. Now, what really does make this thing really messed up is, turns out these adults were actually 10-year-old boys themselves. Now, there comes a point in every man's life when two 10-year-olds kill a 2-year-old in the most despicable and disgusting way possible. And you just gotta ask fucking why, right? Why? What on earth? They've done some incredibly horrific things to this poor young man, and then obviously left him on the train track. They picked up from what I can easily describe, a piece of train track and slammed it on his head, and it fractured his head in 10 places. It were a proper despicable crime. It really did take, I were only young at the time, so, well, in fact, no, I was just born when this actually happened, but I do remember sort of like, it must have been about 10 because there's like a lot of things after it that the two people sort of went on to do, and one of the lads actually ended up getting done for child porn after the fact. So I'm going to get there anyway. So the two people in question, Robert Thompson and John Venables, which another just insane story leads off from all this. I promise I'm going to get there. It is really, really sort of difficult to sort of talk about. So yeah, obviously this footage had all come through. You know, obviously investigations, rah rah rah, yada yada yada. Kids got caught. Obviously, they both got caught. Blah blah blah. There was bang to rights. They got convicted of it. They got what was called at Her Majesty's pleasure. So basically, they got locked up indefinitely. Pardon me. The only way that these two monsters could get out is if a judge directly said that there was sort of okay, or like the Queen basically pardoned them. Which, sadly enough, I think only 10 short years after happened. So these kids was then somehow found not to be a danger to society. Which honestly, being from the UK myself, really makes me pretty fucking upset to be a part of this country, because, like, man, like, damn it, man. Right, so, shortly after the trial, and after the judge had recommended a minimum sentence of 8 years, Lord Taylor of Gosforth, the Lord Chief Justice, let me just say that honestly, the British people come up with some stupid ass name. The Lord Taylor of Gosforth. I think Family Guy actually do a skit about this where they're taking the piss out of like teams and sports, and it's so true. We have some ridiculous names. Recommended that the two boys should serve a minimum of 10 years, which would make them eligible for release in February 2003 at the age of 20. The editors of the Sun newspaper handed a petition bearing nearly 300,000 signatures to the Home Secretary Michael Howard in a bid to increase the time spent in custody. The campaign was successful, and in July 1994, Howard announced that the boys would be kept in custody for a minimum of 15 years, which, again, I really don't feel like it really justifies. I don't really think that the ends really justify the means there, but whatever. So blah 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 blah. This is all Wikipedia, by the way, and I have read the whole Wikipedia entry and sort of watched a few like documentaries on it, and it is honestly a really interesting read. There's a lot of shit that's gone down with this. There's a lot of subsequent events, a lot of footnotes, and honestly, I would love to go through it all. And if anybody does watch this and they do find this like interesting, and they can't be arsed reading that shit out for themselves, I would love to read it for y'all, but I wouldn't torture you all with that immediately. So, subsequent events. In the months after the trial and following the birth of their second son, the marriage of the Bulger's parents, Raph and Denise, broke down. They divorced. 2 sons together. The Observer revealed that Venables and Thompson had passed A-levels during their sentence. The Undiagnosed Psychopaths published published details that suggest. Right, so the whole reason of this whole story, I mean, other than it being just like incredibly fucking insane just to start off with, like these kids got let out after 10, 15 years or whatever, which, oh god, it really hurts my brain to know that. I wish I did have stopped sort of reading, but I didn't, and I sort of hate myself for these guys getting out. But what I really do hate a little bit more is the fact that these guys was given new identities to obviously protect them when they got released. So on the 4th of May 2011, it was reported that Venables would once again be given a new identity, following what was described as a serious security breach, which revealed an identity that he had been using before his imprisonment in 2010. So, I actually forgot to mention that during this trial, and I think this is probably one of the few times that we've seen this, like, truly seen this over in, like, the UK, but mob justice really was in full swing. Merseyside or Kirkby, like literally every single person in that town wanted to kill these two boys. And honestly, I don't condone violence in any way. I really don't. I am more of a lover than a fighter, but seriously, these guys, I can't honestly think of a more fitting punishment for them, because what they did was honestly deplorable, reprehensible, honestly unthinkable. Like, I remember hearing about it, and to my sort of youth mind, as I say, I was only young at the time hearing about this, and it was more hearing about the further crimes that had been committed by these chaps that really sort of sparked my interest in it. And I mean, obviously, this has gone down as probably one of the most infamous crimes in UK history. There's not really been much that I can honestly remember that was as bad as this and as shocking, I suppose. I mean, for shock value, this really were a 10 out of 10. They were 10-year-old. These two kids were 10-year-old when they did all this crazy shit. And it really does just blow my mind, like, totally. So yeah, these kids were given like new identities, and it's actually a crime. Literally, I would get put in jail if I discovered who these people was and told people. Which I understand, obviously, these, like the criminal justice system have got a duty of care, whatever, to all criminals or people that have passed through the services, whatever, I get that. But just this once, I think people would have understood if you made an exception. As I say, mob justice was literally in full swing. I mean, I'll get a little bit of footage and show you here. But I mean, people were honestly trying to fucking headbutt the cars that they were driving past him when they were going to and from court. I mean, any time that these kids were making appearances, people were just there and they were super angry. I mean, to say that people wanted these kids dead was honestly an understatement. It really was. People really wanted these kids' heads on a stick, and I don't blame them. I really don't for this one. I mean, as I say, it's been heavily documented. Honestly, I just wanted to sort of get that out there about, these guys have obviously done something like this, and then to later on in life one of them, John Venables, has been to jail multiple times since this because of child pornography. Although, pardon me, a psychologist that did a psych evaluation on the two during or in around the time, maybe 5-10 years after the fact, specifically said that there was no sexual aspect of this crime. Bearing in mind the found batteries stuck up this poor child's behind. And, this were probably one of the grounds that was surmised that there wasn't a danger to society anymore, that it wasn't sexual. They only did it for the laughs, whatever. I mean, that makes it all the better, apparently. So, yeah, I mean, these guys are out. One of them, I think, is living a relatively happy and normal life. As I say, John Venables has been in and out of jail because of child pornography. And just the fact that this guy is still getting the fuck out of jail. Wow, man. Jesus, UK. What the hell is going on with y'all? I might move, like, anywhere but here, man, because that is not right, man. Right, I mean, like, seriously, I am honestly stuck for words right about now. I really am. I was just reading a little something there that it says that there's a book called On Evil, which is the story of Bulger's murder, which I wouldn't mind reading because I'm a bit of a reader, and I do like reading. And I like sort of true crime documentaries and true crime novels and stuff. And I guess so. I mean, they really weird me out and make me feel a bit pukey. But at the same time, I'm kind of interested in how these people work. I mean, obviously, normal people have that filter in them that stops them from going the extra mile. But it really interests me to know like the dynamic of these people, and I guess like deep down they are just normal humans, but they've obviously got different chemistries that make them work and tick, and I just think it's all a bit interesting at the same time as being really sickening. I don't know, I guess as humans we sort of intrigued by that sort of stuff, but yeah, I wanted to talk about that today because honestly it fucking smacks me right in the gob that gobsmacked, that these guys are out and they got let out after such a short amount of time, after clear public outcry, not to clear public anger, and oh man, it just makes me pretty upset to be from the UK, guys. But that's gonna be pretty much it for today. Sorry about it being a super depressing one. Rest in peace, man, young man. Jeez, man. And honestly, I hope I see them two motherfucking kids in hell, and maybe I can have a word with them one day. But on that note, thank you guys for watching. I hope it's not been too depressing. My name's Kez, and my channel's called Kez Vlogs Daily. I'm trying to put a lot of time and effort into it, so it would really, really mean a lot if you could sub the page. It's free, so why not? It doesn't really cost and affect you anyway, but it affects me hugely and makes me feel like super awesome and like ace. So I mean, do something nice for someone, maybe, please. But yeah, peace, guys. Thanks for watching.